I am Amrita and you are watching TV9 News. Climate change is affecting you and I. Already one report suggests that air pollution itself costs Indian businesses about 7 lakh crore rupees every year as it impacts the productivity of the employees. Now, world leaders seem to be becoming increasingly serious about climate change issue. On Thursday, global leaders including that of India, Japan, Russia and China met on climate agenda chaired by the US. India and US agreed on climate and clean energy agenda 2030 partnership. India reiterated its targets, which are: first, install 450 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. Secondly, reduce the GDP emissions intensity, which is volume of emissions per unit of GDP, by 33 to 35% below 2005 levels. Thirdly, creating an additional forest and tree cover by 2030. But are these goals feasible in reality or just ambitious lip service? I spoke to Dr. Parmesh, a visiting professor at Devecha Center for Climate Change at the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru, who told us about what India would need to do to achieve these goals and whether it is feasible.
First thing is to mitigate these three important forces. Number one, reduce the production so that you don't contribute much more for the air pollution, global warming, climate change. They're all interrelated. Reduce the pollution further by way of changing our fossil fuels. Fossil fuel is the most common cause, nearly 95% of the time, from the coal and oil. Then cement comes about 3%, burning of the smoke here and there is only 1%, in certain season it will come as a matter. That has to be reduced. And second thing is alternate energy we have to find out. Solar energy, hydro energy, and atomic energy has come into the picture to me. As China wants to increase to nearly 30% up till 2030, we have to think of that one, because we know how to manage the waste, reusing it. This reminds me of my late friend, Professor Raja Ramanna. He used to suggest, I think, clean air, clean fuel, we have to go for it. But now I remember his statement. We have to use the thorium rather than uranium because easily available for us. So this is something we have to think in that context by changing the energy and all the things. Number two is the existing thing we have to mitigate it. Carbon dioxide, because we produce 3 times the normal Earth can manage, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. So the carbon footprints, America, the number one country, is carbon footprint very high. Ours is the lowest. Usually they produce about nearly 14.95 metric tons per year. We produce only about 1.9 metric tons. And globally we produce about 4 tons per year. How to mitigate this one? We have to work. Number one, reduce the population, as a matter of fact. It's a must. Demand has to be reduced. There's another, population growth has to be cut down. And also we have to think of the greeneries. One tree absorbs carbon dioxide. Our waste is the carbon dioxide, breathing waste. The third thing would be people who are already been suffering, how to mitigate it to do that one. We have to encourage them to build the houses to the good cross ventilation. That's it is always. Second thing, have a traditional food habits. Our Indian food habit is the best way to do this. Many textbooks, Western textbooks say Mediterranean diet is better than American Western diet, but I would say Indian diet much better than Mediterranean diet, along with nuts and the fruits, vegetables, curds, what we are taking. So I think that is the best food as a matter. As a matter of fact, and the greeneries has to be increased, and also our cooking fuel has to be changed, as a matter of fact. So the commercial always than the non-commercial cooking fuel, as a matter of fact.
Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar in 2020 had said that India has achieved its voluntary target of reducing emissions intensity of its GDP by 21% over 2005 levels by 2020. So there is some hope for 2030 targets as well. However, cutting down on fossil fuel, a major contributor to carbon emissions from India, is easier said than done. In the US, Biden administration's ambitious goals of slashing greenhouse emissions by 50 to 52% by 2030 has been met with criticism for being unrealistic. Americans will need to change their primarily meat-based diet, adopt expensive electric vehicles, change the heating system at their houses, and also dish out more money in taxes to achieve the target. Do you think India's plan is realistic or not? What do you think India should do to mitigate the climate change effects? Let us know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe to TV9 News.